Well, hello there, men, women, children of all ages. It is Kenny B, the Madman, at Lionel for Less, and I just thought I'd do a quick one here tonight. I've been extremely busy as I finally got my old behind off the floor. I've got exactly 2 more pieces of track to cut, straight pieces here, and I've got the 088, 072, 054, and then on the inside here we're running conventional Super O, and there's going to be a elevated trestle loop possibly there. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it yet, but it's turning out pretty nice. Things were in total disarray in here. I changed shifts on my job, and I decided, well, I have to paint this board, you know, and it does come in handy for when you do start to do your scenery and things. Choosing a color like an earth tone like this will save you a lot of money on ground cover and that. You know, you don't have to cover every inch of the layout with that stuff. And it's just a better, like, you know, than just leaving it on the bare board like I had it. And this time I use semi-gloss because, you know, a lot of times I'm over working on things, and you know, you need to clean up. So I needed something I could wipe up, and I made the mistake last time of doing it flat, and every time I would have to touch it up. So it just got to the point where I didn't touch it up anymore. I picked up these New York Central, Empire State Express, still New York Central, passenger set to go with the ESC car. I've been working on them. They were far from perfect when I got them. You can see here, like, the, you know, blemishes, and there was just a lot of junk on them. You know, I've been spending about an average of an hour and a half on each car detailing it out. I ended up having to go to the mothers on this stuff because being that this is an old MTH set, I am not certain that these cars are fully aluminum or just, you know, plated. So I didn't want to go taking a piece of 3000 wet sandpaper, and, you know, that's one of the methods that I use. So I'm playing it safe since I don't know what I'm really dealing with, and you can't hurt nothing by polishing it. But they're coming out great. They're gonna be, you know, as good as new when I get done with them. The really only car I've completed is not even the baggage. It's the second one there. But I've been picking away at the rest of the set. And I'm trying to pick up the 2 add-on passenger cars that go with this. Because, you know, that's a nice train now. I do think I will leave the ESC just proto sound, because I did install a new speaker in the tender. I ordered some speakers from China, and here's what we had in there. Okay, there's what you had in there, like a walkie-talkie speaker, and that's what I installed. So you can see the difference. There's actually a magnet on this one, and it's like night and day in the clarity. It's still not quite as much bass as I would like, so next time I order one, I'll order from a different person. Now, on the regular proto sound engine, you don't have to worry so much about ohms and that on the speakers for a proto sound, original proto sound engine. Proto 2, Proto 3, yes. You need to stay with the ohm and under 5 watts. Or at 5 watts. Or, because that's one of the most common things that happen with Proto 2 is the amps blow out. So, it's kind of hard to get the Lionel sound out of an MTH, but putting an enclosure over this will also give it more depth and bass. But the horn, and it's just, it's loud. And that's what I wanted. But you just unhook the battery and resolder it. Now, for those of you who have not had the pleasure of seeing the inside of a TIU, tonight I was working on this one. I bought this used, and it was inoperable, and I found a couple loose things in there, and I resoldered them. I cleaned everything real good, and this is the antenna, and it was not seated properly. So that's probably the main reason why it wasn't working. If your TIU gets moved around, this will come loose, and you'll see in the back over here of it where, you know, you just push down on it with even pressure. You know, be very careful, because you don't with, you know, look at that. It's a computer inside of here. And this is an old one. This is a Rev H1. I purchased this from the New Jersey High Railers, and it worked when I first got it, but then it stopped working. So now, being I got everything back up, you know, I've got another TIU hooked up over there. Damn focus. But I want to have one over here too, because this is going to be my programming track. I'm trying to do everything right for a change. You know, I'm far from organized yet. I have to go through all this stuff and put it where it's gonna go. but I'm beginning to see the light of my mad vision for this whole thing. It's came a long way since I moved in here in February. That's for sure. It has came a long way. You know, the shelves were worth every red cent. I mean, you know, you have trains and you have them in boxes, or, you know, you have them other places, like on side tracks or something. Who knows? You know, mine used to go in tissue paper and then go in the boxes. And you don't pull them down and run them as much then. You know, this is not to impress anyone. It is just to the cars stay in better shape. Let's put it that way. And you see them, and you tend to grab them and pull them down and run them more. So with MTH engines especially, that's important to do, is run those engines, especially if you have a 5-volt board. Those would be the boards made before 2005. That's when they made the complete switch. There were some PS2 3-volt boards that came out in 2004, but like any other company, they used up what they had of the 5 volts before they went to the 3-volt system, which was superior, in my opinion. Just my humble opinion again. Because the board could be taken apart and, you know, guys could work on certain aspects of it. And I even met a genius type dude who can rebuild those old 3-volt boards. He kind of reverse engineered it. He's an MTH tech. And I'm fortunate to have him for a friend. And believe it or not, the Burlington Zephyr came back. My friend Al put a new 5-volt board in it for me. And I need to get a little thing, like a washer piece for this car to sit down properly on, because it's missing it. You know, I bought all this components for this set separately, like the idiot I am. I got the engine. The same week I saw the cars being sold separately on a online auction site, and I bought the cars. I was not able to get the extra car that goes with it, but I'll pick that up at York or at an auction, or maybe online somewhere. But I will get it. It's no big deal. The big deal is that Dad is running again, and it looks super cool, man, with all the smoke coming out of all 4 of these things on top. Whenever you do take an engine apart, make sure that you go easy, because these stumps that, you know, the frames are mounted to, they will break. This one did break, and I had to use JB Weld and, you know, do a job on it, because you can't get the metal pieces that MTH used to sell to fix them. And then what you want to do after you do get the shell off is preferably take some of this white lithium grease and either put it on the screw or shoot a little bit down into the hole. Any kind of lubrication is fine, even if it's just the oil you put on your engines. Put it inside these stumps, and that way the next time when you have to take the engine apart, there's less stress on it. You know, and I know these things happen, and still, when my buddy sent it back to me, I still had to finagle with the speaker a little bit, you know, and I knew that. So I popped the top off, and damn it, one of the stumps broke. So it really doesn't matter a lot of times how careful you are, but it does help if you lubricate them after you open them up, because then, you know, the next time you go to work on it, as I said, see that system they got there? So all of the smoke gets funneled up through those 4 stacks. That's a pretty cool idea. I thought it was anyway. And I'm gonna work some more on this body also, making it better. I've got some more magic compound things to do on that, and potions, tricks. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what I've been doing and show you the inside of a TIU. These, I've been told, are practically indestructible. So if you're running and you hear a pop or something, you know, hit the E-stop, and 9 times out of 10 your problem's gonna be one of these 20 amp fuses, and they're just regular car fuses. There's 4 of them, 1 for each channel. You know, the fuses that were in here, here's what they look like if you ever need to purchase some. They're 20 amps, and they've got these kind of ends on them. But you go back, you know, it'd probably be great to buy, like, you know, 200 of them, and you can probably get them for $0.10 a piece or something then. But the ones that I pulled out of here, they did not appear to be broken, but I noticed that they had a lot of, see all that like charring on them? So somebody ran too much power through there before. You know, and a lot of times on these fuses, you can't tell that they blow. And I cleaned everything up inside, you know, mainly with just air. And I made sure, you know, nothing was touching each other. And like I said, there was a couple loose connections, and this is very important. You gotta make sure that that's seated. That's your antenna. If that thing ain't in there right, you ain't going nowhere. And sometimes from getting moved around or just bumped, they'll come loose. The same thing's in your remote, and you'll have to take the back of the remote off and do do the same thing, seat the receiver and the remote. But I just wanted to show everybody it's not science fiction. I've had to just tell myself that I'm going to learn this stuff. I'm still hoping to get into the MTH Tech program. I missed out on the summer classes, but I'm hoping to get in on the next session. But yeah, don't be afraid ever to pop the cover off. You know, there's probably filth in there, and you might see a loose wire. What I found on this main input channel was one of the solder joints was barely hanging on, so we weren't getting good voltage through there. I'm using a 135 watt Lionel brick there with these adapters, you know, from where it would plug into the Power Master, and they go right into banana plugs for the TIU. I'll probably mount this over here on the side now that I have it working. I think it is. Let's see again. So you turn it on, you watch that bulb, and it should blink once. That means you have one TIU hooked up. So you're looking for that blink upon startup. And the red light should stay on. You know, I've got a lot of new guys on my channel, so I know some of the stuff's probably redundant for other people. But you've got to look through the grill there, the cover, and make sure that the red light's on all the time. Because if it's not, you ain't got no action. Okay, and I'm running out of here with a pair of test wires to a piece of 30-inch fast track. There we go. It wasn't doing that an hour ago. No, like 2 hours. Let me say 2 hours now. But this thing here is awesome. It's got a real nice horn. I love this little Amtrak. I've been waiting to get the cars rather, the double bi-level cars to go with it, and I'd like to pick up another one of these FPH 59s because they're becoming very affordable right now too. And that's about all for today, folks. I usually have to work on the weekends, but I had tonight off and tomorrow night, so I am going to finish attacking this Frankenstein that I created. You know, I couldn't be happy with just the 2 boards like I started with, you know. Having this almost 3-foot section that's 34 inches, it made a big difference as far as how we're going to have, you know, some room to run and open them up, because I like to highball everything. I like to highball shit and see what it'll do, you know, before it blows up or breaks. Because if it blows up or breaks, we know people and we can get those things taken care of. But I'm just trying to keep the spirit of the hobby alive, and it keeps me out of trouble. Like I said, I will never abandon my post-war stuff like a lot of guys have, because I still love running the post-war. I will be doing the F3 video. I know I said I'd do it sooner, but it will be very soon, because I have the parts. I need to put these engines together. I have more. I have frames to paint still. I still have to put the Santa Fe's back together that I started before I had to move. But yes, the TIU is not anything to be afraid of. You don't want to go in there and, you know, grabbing shit. Just, you know, gently move things around. Check all your solder connections. Check to make sure that these nuts are tight, because they'll often work loose, and then you don't get a good connection when you go to put your power or take your power to the track. But man, I'm damn proud of myself. I actually did make myself a dedicated programming track. Man, what is going on with me? I'm doing things too correctly. It's just not me. You know, I like to wing it, but I've learned a lot by winging it, but I've also spent a lot of money that I didn't need to by winging it. So these days we're being a little bit more cautious. One time I lost an engine on the remote, a Union Pacific SD90, and I couldn't recover it. I got on the forum, I was asking everyone to help me, you know, I got the engine, blah blah blah. You know, it won't go back in the remote. You know, somehow it got deleted from the remote. I was just starting back then with MTH. So I probably deleted it. And then it didn't want to do it. And all day, like, you know, 15, 20 people telling me different things to try it. You know, and I said, it ain't working, it ain't working. Finally, a gentleman comes on there and he said, take one piece of track and, you know, do this, what I've got hooked up here. And bam, that engine went right back in the remote. I was like, wow. Because it was, you know, I started asking the question around 10 o'clock in the morning. And it was like 8 o'clock in the evening. And we were still trying things to get that damn thing to go back in the remote. Now that cover just slips right back on. And like I said, when you're running, you gotta see that light, man. That light has to be on or you got trouble. Now you can run auxiliary power from a Z750 or Z1000. Well, they don't recommend using 1000. 500 or 750 into here. And that way you don't have to run a jumper wire over to your conventional channel if you want to run like the Proto Sound engines. Of course, all 4 of these can be assigned to as DCS channels.